Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum, coming off the back of a loss at the Etihad. It's always horrible to talk about after a game, but we're here to break it all down and we're going to make it the therapy forum with you guys. Lost 3-1 at the Etihad. What do you make of it? I know Mark's been going on some huge rant on his final score. Obviously, a lot of us are probably going to have different opinions. We'll get into it. So we have Kev, Mordzs and Faz. I mean, first of all, just to kick it off, I know Mark's titled his final score that we were robbed, and he's really frustrated with the refereeing decisions. There's some refereeing decisions I'm frustrated with. I know there's some that you guys might be frustrated with, but let's be brutally honest here. This is just my opinion. We were not robbed today.
No.
City absolutely played us off the park. The possession stats are embarrassing. It was like relegation team versus, best team in the world. So to say we were robbed, I think is... I don't think that's accurate, but you guys get in the comments what you think. But, I mean, Kev, first and foremost, how are you feeling? And do you think a 3-1 was a fair representation of the game?
Yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. Probably we all feel, any Manchester United fan feels. I thought there was a clear game plan. We went into it and certain players, everybody seemed to be on board with, the Erik ten Hag kind of game plan that we knew we were going to have to do. We knew it was going to be something like the Anfield kind of result where we're going to have to go into it. Might not be great to watch, but to get the early kind of goal through Rashford, we didn't create many chances, did we really? So to get that, I thought today's just a reality check for me as a Manchester United fan. We get loads of them through the season, but to see how good Manchester City are, there's just absolutely nothing you can do about it. And you can talk about being robbed, we weren't robbed today. And we can talk about decisions. Yes, Kyle Walker on Rashford, I thought could have been given as a foul, and that rules out the Foden goal. The Ederson one, I do think is a penalty, but at the end of the day, even if we'd have scored a penalty or whatever, you just got the impression that Manchester City could step it up at any time. They were kind of going through the gears, and maybe in the first half when we take the lead, Manchester City kind of just toyed with us, and that's what they are. They're just a well-oiled machine, and it's just a wake-up call. It's awful as a United fan because you kind of look at it and just think, we are years behind. If that's the standard, and we want to get back to competing, in a title race, we're absolutely years off, and that's the wake-up call for me. But the one thing I wanted to see today, I don't think many of us, went into it confident thinking we'd actually win. But the one thing we wanted to see was commitment, desire. I felt we did get that from the players, but at the end of the day, the harsh reality is that these players, some of them, are just not good enough.
I mean, I agree, our squad compared to City's squad, it's just night and day, it really is. And I don't know about you guys, going to get into it, but I can't really go in on any individuals today. I think as a team, and the way that Ten Hag set us up, we give it everything. There's a Lindelof I could maybe say a few words about, but it's one of them where City were just better than us. They're better than us in every single department. Yeah. I mean, everyone who's just joined over from Mark's stream now, welcome. We do have a slightly different viewpoint. I don't think anyone here thinks we were robbed, but we'll break it all down. We're going to look at the stats, we're going to look at the decisions, but I was thinking, the stats from that game, from in my opinion, I get we went there to park the bus. I thought that's the only way we could get a result. Parts of that game, I thought, we might be able to pull it off, and I would have been celebrating it like there was no tomorrow if we did. But like we said, we always had that sense that City were going to get something from somewhere. You can't do that for 90 minutes, I don't think. You can do it for a bit, but not for 90 minutes. But in terms of the stats, I'm going to read them out, and then I'm going to come to you guys. So, shots, 27 shots from Man City, 3 shots from Manchester United, 3 shots. On target, 8 shots from City, which, to be fair, is quite good for us, to be fair.
For every 9 shots, we had 1 shot.
We had 1 shot on target, yeah. Wow. Expected goals, 3.32 for City, 0.22 for Manchester United. Touches in opposition box, now this is scary. Oh. 69 for City, 9 for Manchester United. Passes in the final third, 398 for Man City, 58 for Manchester United, and possession is 73% for City and 27% for Manchester United. I mean, I know ultimately it's about what the scoreline is. But them stats are genuinely like Burnley. Like Burnley could turn up to the Etihad and maybe have better stats than that. Like Mords, like how far off it do you think we are?
Yeah, literally like Kev said, we are years. When I say years, like years, a complete rebuild away from the City team. And I don't even like giving City props. I genuinely, like, it burns me as a United fan. It honestly hurts me to give City so much props, but the reality is they are so far ahead of us. It's not one season, it's not 2 seasons, it's 3, 4, 5+ seasons that they're ahead. And it's not even a case of, oh, if we just change these players. The players that they have right now are they've been playing under Pep for so long. For example, you look at Foden. When did he start playing? When he was 16, 17, around that age?
Yeah, he came up through Pep, didn't he?
Yeah, he came up through Pep when he was about 16, 17. Now he's like 23, 24. That is instilled into him. Pep's system is second nature to him. He doesn't need to think about it. De Bruyne doesn't need to think about it. Haaland's already a freak anyway, but Bernardo Silva, Rodri, all these players, what they've been able to learn and develop underneath Pep is, like I said, it's second nature. That's why it feels so fluid to them. It doesn't feel like they're having to do like a chore or they're having to do something out of character, or maybe it's not natural to them. Everything feels natural when City play, whereas you look at United, even if we were to, I don't know, sell a few players and bring them back and bring in some new guys, they still have to go through years of understanding what Ten Hag wants, or whoever, let's say Ten Hag was to leave and we brought in a new manager, whatever that new manager wants, they still have to go through a few years of fully understanding it. It's the same with Arteta. He's been managing Arsenal for, 5 years now? Look how long it took for those players to understand his system and what he wants to do. So it's not even necessarily just about the players that they don't know what to do or whatnot. It's going to take years for them to not only replace certain players, but then to have to teach them exactly what he wants them to do. So yeah, we are very, very, very far behind.
I love the fact that some United fans, I understand everyone's raging and it's disappointing. Of course it is, it's Derby Day, but this kind of narrative now, that Ten Hag, the people on social media that Ten Hag out, how are we just basing this on? We've literally just played arguably the best team on the planet. One result against them shouldn't really defy Eric Ten Hag.
One thing I would say is it's like the sad state of affairs, and get in the chat. We're going to go through your super chats, loads coming in. Get your super chats in if you want to have your say. But the sad thing is anybody here shocked?
No.
Anyone here, like everyone expected this, and that's a sad thing. And like I can't even go in on anyone because it's not as if they give what they give, just not good enough.
We got a bit of false hope, didn't we? Because we took the lead, and then you start thinking, oh yeah, and then you knew it was the game plan. See it through till half time. Then you're at half time, and you're thinking, right, another 45 minutes. The minute we conceded that goal, you knew the crowd was behind them, and we kind of just crumbled from then.
I mean, one thing I wanted to bring in, Faz, it's a comment from Eric Ten Hag. He said, the players gave everything, the performance was very good, it was very small margins. And one thing I would say is that Man City had more shots, 27, than Man United had possession, 26%. What are your thoughts on that comment and the small margins comment, and where are you at with this? Because I know you were at the game.
Either he's concussed or I'm concussed. Because he comes out and says this after games. It's baffling. It's baffling he's allowed to even speak after the game. What kind of margin is he on about? Man City played football like they were on Viagra. They just didn't stop pumping us. I don't understand. I was so proud of the team for holding out that long. I was actually happy. Yeah. If you see my Twitter, I was absolutely having a ball in that stadium. Marcus Rashford scored a goal out of thin air. Varane defending, Casemiro's defending, Haaland's missing empty net. I was like, this is it. But guess what? I was a fool, like the fool I am. Thinking, you know what? Yeah, maybe second half. Maybe this second half, Eric won't make any silly subs and he'll tell the team to keep patient and hold it out. I don't even care if we don't create chances. We got a goal. Even if they score, let's get a point and maybe we can go with that. But by God, City, it's like a Fiat 500 versus a AMG Mercedes 8-speed auto. There's no comparison. One's got 5 gears, if that. One's got 8 gears. It's just go up gear after gear after gear. And I actually think majority of the game, we did what we were supposed to do, which is stay defending. I don't understand why people are so or would be upset about the stats. I'm not at all. What was I expecting after Fulham, Bournemouth, all of these other games, Champions League this season? I was like, you know what, let them have the ball, but let us have some points. I would have more than happy, but it's a shame that, like, fine margins in terms of a little mistake from a player, lapse of concentration from Lindelof, and it's just City, they have that stamina. They never feel like they're done and out from the game. And 1-0 is a very, very bad, scoreline to have on in a game, because soon as the opposition team score, they have momentum. They're at home as well. Don't forget, right, majority of the game, City fans were upset. Like, City fans were shouting, this is shit. They were frustrated. They were going in. I think they kind of had a input on the ref as well, because they were really going in on the ref. I don't know if you guys saw it from the TV, but oh my God, they were going in on the ref. So I think in the second half, the ref gave away, a couple of decisions. But let's be honest, that Rashford one, people are gonna. It's you're stretching it. It's not a foul. He barely pulled him. I think, in my personal opinion, McTominay should have fizzed it in a lot earlier. If you notice the run Rashford makes, it's perfectly timed. If McTominay fizzes it earlier, it gives Rashford a bit more momentum to meet the ball and maybe carry it forward. He almost fizzed it a bit too late, and the defender got to him. But overall, look, 3 goals scored. I think they could have easily scored 6 or 7. Like, the amount of chances that they had, they'd be kicking themselves. De Bruyne had,
that Haaland one.
Forget even that. Like, that's even expected. I'm talking De Bruyne, Foden. They got in so many opportunities, right? And they're shooting it wide or shooting it high up. So they'll be kicking themselves that they couldn't. This was like a practice session for them, but. This was expected. It's just a shame we couldn't hold it up for a bit longer and get a bit more out the game, maybe a point.
That's where we got false hope as well. When you see Haaland missing from 4 yards out, that's when you think it's going to be our day.
And it's especially when Rashford absolutely pulls off one of the best goals he's ever scored.
Brilliant.
But I mean, I was saying during the game, I think we got a bit complacent. I think not complacent, but we got a bit too confident in them. Like, after we got that goal, when we played Liverpool, I think because the game was 0-0 for so long, we still thought, you know what, even though we have a chance, let's just try and still, we're not winning the game. So then they held the defence, they still stayed structured for most of the game. As soon as we got 1 up, I feel like we got a little bit too confident. We thought, we could actually take it to them. And as soon as we tried to do that, I only realised City got like a clear-cut chance straight away. I think Foden had like a one-on-one with Onana. Onana made a good save. And even Foden's goal, the long-range goal, that came because, in my opinion, nobody closed him out quick enough. It was only Lindelof that tried to close him out, and usually you would expect 2 players to close out a play like Foden because of how good he is. But I think we got a bit too complacent, we got a bit too confident, and we thought, you know what, we took our foot off the gas a little bit when it comes to defence, and that's why we were able to be opened up. But I know obviously I'm not going to say we shouldn't have scored, but I think because of that goal so early, I think the team just kind of thought, you know what, we could actually take it to City, which we couldn't.
We barely took it to them, let's be honest.
Yeah, barely.
We had barely any possession in their half. And do you know what it is as well? And I'm going to get onto that. We can't keep the ball for more than 10 seconds, and that is a big issue. But, I mean, it's one of them. Like, I think you know what? I think Onana was fantastic that's
today.
What I mean. When your keeper's that good and you still ship 3.
He was. I don't know how.
That was the Onana of the Champions League final.
I was listening to Mark's player ratings, and I'm really sorry, Mark, but it is so obvious and blatant that you're upset with Onana for the Champions League mess up that he's done this season, because there's no way that keeper gets a 6.5.
From Mark?
Yeah, I think he gave him a 6.5. Please correct me in the chat. That is very harsh, because you're upset, and I'm very upset, don't forget. I was very critical of Onana too. But today he was fantastic. He's really restored my faith, considering the amount of times he came out for a cross, corner kicks, and saves. That shot from Foden, people will say he should have saved that, or whatever. But look at all the other ones that he saved. It's one of them. He shouldn't have been conceding anyways. He shouldn't be in that position.
As to the game plan that Man United wanted to play today.
We're going to get onto that. I just need to get through some super chats because there's loads coming in to keep on top of them. We're going to get into loads of different individuals and just other areas that need addressing. But Raja Badan, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Shenanigans says, Lee shots conceded by City this season, awful. Lee shots conceded by City for us. Like, that is crazy. Mini What 1884 says, hi all, Bruno needs to be dropped for Mount when he's back. Mount doesn't go for stupid passes or shots, he'll go simpler passes. Thoughts? Stephen Willock says, we can't listen to Eric Ten Hag for signings anymore. Awful. That's a point we're going to address. One thing on that Bruno thing is, I don't think he went for any silly passes today.
What did Bruno do wrong today?
But I don't.
He barely had the ball to do anything.
What did he do wrong though?
So
I can't tell you.
I thought even though we didn't have a good game, I thought it was one of our better players. But anyway, so Muka G says, why were Manu and Garnacho substituted? Awful. Gonna speak about that.
Good point, yeah.
Anil Setkar says Bruno did well for the assist. Today was one of them days where he should have tried more long balls. Siraj Mukherjee says, not Rob, top 7 away ahead of us. Our front 4 have been ridiculous for a long time. Bad bench strength, management call, missed key players. David Rook says, where are the players we're signing for the last 18 months? Flash Talk says, yes, it's gone. Question how long before Eric Ten Hag is gone. Lee says, hi guys, what disappointed me the most was Marcus playing like a sheep when the Wolf Walker appeared. He just seemed to give up, looking for fouls, no heart. Jack D says, why are you guys surprised at them stats? He expected it. Nally, member for 1 month, thank you very much. Liam Charmer says, if we have Højlund in the positions Rashford got into, different game. Rashford cannot hold the ball, rubbish in the air, and just does the power shot. Ash Thomas says, stats prove a small mentality club. I'm sure there'll be a few United players camping outside City changing room waiting for autographs. Jojan Daniel says, imagine Lovren or Otamendi playing in a game like this. We have Evans playing in a derby in 2024. Just got to remind ourselves it's a 3-year project. It's more than that. Fred Flintstone says, how many top chances does City have apart from the goals, which all come from big player or referee mistake? The game plan worked mostly, to be fair. C. Millie says, what subs could he make? How can you judge his subs when there are no people to sub? Kia said, Foden's tracking back versus Rashford and Garnacho's, even though City were winning, is worth discussing. Yep. Anthony Tracy says, this team needs to subtract big names to go forward. Arsenal sold Aubameyang, Lacazette, Ozil, Pepe, Xhaka, Tierney, build with youth, and Eric Ten Hag out too. Colin Felix says, Eric Ten Hag's system needs running fullbacks and 2 functional number 8s with wide wingers. He is the manager we need, but the squad has been ravaged by injuries. Mikel says, United plays 20 minutes of football, City's players expect 90 minutes. I mean, that's interesting on the work rate of Foden. It's something I definitely picked up on. But first and foremost, I just want to touch on this point before we go into specifics. And I saw someone discussing this saying, you know, we shipped 3 goals playing part of the bus football. Should we have just played our game, or would it have been silly? Like, what are your opinions on this?
Interesting, that. That's very interesting.
I think it'd have been totally naive to even think if what you're suggesting.
Or at least in the second half,
what do you mean?
Like 20 minutes or something. Should we have gone for it maybe a little bit more?
I just think it's incredibly naive. I think Eric Ten Hag's not daft. He probably knows the players that he's got at his disposal. I think us as fans can see as well that, you know, when you try to pack out the midfield, you start in a game with Bruno on the right, and you try to accommodate and just. I think it would have been really, really naive to try and go toe-to-toe with him. It would have been a lot more damaging, than the 3-1 scoreline that it was today. I think it would have been a hell of a lot more damage limitation. Man.
To go toe-to-toe with a team, you have to have the ball to go toe-to-toe. I don't think it was a choice that Ten Hag said, you know, we're not going to try and... We don't have the ball. Yeah. You can't go and take the game to someone when they have the ball anyway.
You don't have the players to do it,
realistically, we didn't have a choice but to defend the whole game. They forced that onto us. The game was set up before we'd even had our tactics for us to defend. So I don't think it's a case where we could have tried the last 20 minutes to try and attack them more. We didn't have the ball to attack them more.
I don't think we have the capabilities to be honest. I think that's people kind of thinking that we're better than what we are. Like, we couldn't string more than when we strung more than 5 passes together, we were sat here applauding it. Like, that is crazy. But just some news coming out from Ten Hag. He confirms that Rashford is carrying a knock and Evans too. You could tell because Rashford started the game really well. And then once he got that knock, he never really was the same since. Yeah. And I think that's another reason why on that Walker one he goes down, you know, he's carrying a knock. To get a free kick there rather than having to sprint, you know, 100 yards, is better for him and the team in that moment in time when you carry an injury. I don't blame Rashford for trying that, by the way. I personally don't think it's a foul. I think it's a little bit too soft, but I don't blame him for trying it. It's just unlucky the way it comes back. But Faz...
Can I just say, sorry, on that point, I think it was perfect the way the team set out today, because you have to understand who you're playing, right, and what strengths you have. We don't have only weaknesses. Today we had strengths as well. We had Varane, Evans, you know, good experienced players who can defend the box well, defend aerial balls well. We had Casemiro in there. Look at in the first half how many times Man City created opportunities where De Bruyne's crosses were not going anywhere. They kept getting cleared. Now, if we had taken the game to Man City instead, Man City would have been, in any given moment, winning the ball back and in transition countering us. And if they counter us, it's game over anyways. So we would much rather let them have the ball and us defend. It's a way of controlling the game without having the ball, because you have tall centre-backs, you have good defenders that can hold off, you have Casemiro in there, Bruno helping out, and that's what we did. And in a situation, Rashford came up with a goal. So I think it was perfectly right. If we had taken the game to them, we don't have players able to control and hold the ball and dictate the tempo. Look at how City speed the game. They slow it down, they speed it up again. We don't have that. So I think it was perfectly right to play to what this team can do. And if we played like this against some other teams in the league, I think we would have been better off, in all honesty. Because this actually benefits Rashford and Bruno and stuff like that.
It's counter-attacking football, but then I hear people saying Ollie played better counter-attacking football than what Ten Hag's currently doing. And to be honest, even though I've backed Ten Hag, we're not executing the counter-attacking football the way that we should be. We're just not. It's not working the way it should. I mean, that Rashford, our only goal was an absolute screamer. That was complete individual brilliance.
Same like last season.
And to be fair, gonna give Onana, his distribution was great. That ball, we've been doing it a few games now over the top to Bruno. Bruno does really well to lay it off. But to score from there, that goal is unbelievable. It's one in how many? Apart from that, we had nothing.
He did similar against Barca, remember?
Yeah, we had nothing really. We've got some super chats in here. This is for Shailene says, it's like everything is going wrong and is against us this season. Lots of fans can't seem to stomach the fact that so many factors outside the manager's control aren't helping. Now more than ever, we need to be patient with Erik Ten Hag. Get all your thoughts in. Erik Ten Hag is very 50-50 on with a lot of people. I got a couple more in here as well. Ayush saying, please, Erik Ten Hag, don't sell Varane. Mikkel says, United plays 20-minute football. I've done that one. Alan Kenny says, Bruno got a ball in his balls in the first half after 25 minutes. Wasn't the same after. We're struggling to run and he's shattered. He needs a break. Mario Franco said, Walker wasn't looking for the ball. It's a foul. It's lots of different opinions, and that's what it's all about. Different opinions on the forum than on Mark's final scoring, and that's what it's about. I'm going to talk about Varane a little bit in a minute, but I want to ask you about Erik Ten Hag's substitutions. I think the two that people are most frustrated about is Amrabat on Firmino, when, let's be honest, Amrabat was the big reason why that third goal ended up going in, and Garnacho off for the likes of Forson, and then Anthony as well coming on for Rashford. Obviously Rashford was carrying a knock, which is why Ten Hag had to sub him. But do you guys feel like subs really did cost us a portion of that game?
I think it'd be... If somebody gets injured and we talk about squad depth, then I don't understand. If he's just making it thinking Rashford's not been great today, I'm going to take him off and bring Anthony on. But the fact he's injured, I don't know, who else would you have... what if you were the manager? What decision would you have made instead of?
I'm not the Rashford one. I don't blame him at all. Rashford was injured from early in the second half. I think pretty much after his goal, you could see him he had his hands on his knees. I think someone put it on Twitter somewhere that he was signalling to Ten Hag. You might have seen it. He was signalling Ten Hag to try and that's something that he had a knock. So he was pretty much walking from that point. He wasn't pressing it nowhere near as much defensively. He was a bit of a liability, I'll be honest. From as soon as he got that knock. So I genuinely don't blame Ten Hag. In fact, I thought he was going to take him off at half time, even because it was before half time he got a knock. But it's the other two subs. It's the Amrabat for Mainu. I know it's only one goal, but we see Mainu win us a game. We've seen him. Yeah. He's got the qualities when it comes to attacking.
Anthony do that as well.
Yeah, we've seen Anthony do it as well. But who did Anthony come on for? Garnacho.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've seen Garnacho do it as well. So in my opinion,
did he come on for Rashford and then Garnacho came off for Forson? Either.
I can't remember exactly, but the point I'm trying to make is, if you are looking for a goal, you don't take off a player who has got you a late goal. You don't take off Garnacho, who's also got you a late goal. And in my opinion, Anthony's really the only benefit you get from Anthony in this kind of game is more defensive. Offensively, he's not better than Garnacho. He's not. So you really, if you're 2-1 down and you're looking for a goal, you don't think, okay, Anthony's a better option than Garnacho. That doesn't make sense to me. And Forson, I've not seen him forcing put that much of a good shift in since he's joined the first team, or since he's played for the first team. So that one's really just a hope and wish that he does something good that we've not seen.
Amrabat's going to get highlighted purely because he has made an awful mistake. But you can't really put that down to Erik ten Hag and blame him and say it's your fault you brought him on, because he had a great second half midweek. So some people might have been looking, solid player, put him in the middle of the park. We were getting clearly overrun in the midfield. So he's made a horrible mistake. Really bad.
I think I'm going to be honest here, and I'll come to you on this, Faz. I thought the subs were poor. Like, I get we have bad squad depth, but...
Our subs are poor, though.
The squad depth is terrible. Like, look at the likes that what City can bring off the bench. Alvarez, I could list them all off. But with United, you're looking at a bench that is poor. Like, great for the academy product, like some of the academy products getting on the bench, but it's really slim pickings. Rashford is injured. Fair play, I get why you have to bring him off. Evans is injured. I get why you have to bring him off. Since Evans came off, our whole back four looked way just less fluid together and just less confident.
Just loads of holes.
Yeah, and...
Do you know what the reality of this is? And we discussed this with a City fan on Thursday. You look at them two teams, our best players at Manchester United make City's bench.
But
well, like say Højlund, because we debated this on Thursday. We had a City fan and we were trying to argue Luke Shaw would get in. He was like, no. And then we mentioned Højlund. He was like, we've got Haaland. So you're like, right, so he'll go on the bench,
Alvarez.
Maybe a Martinez, maybe. Our best players get on City's bench.
The squads are so much better than, their squad's so much better than ours. Like, it's not even in the same sentence, honestly. But I still don't use that as an excuse. Like, I'm not being funny. This is a game that we were deadly in. We were in it despite being poor, despite the stats being against us. And I just thought the subs absolutely killed the game. Subs you have to make for injury, okay, yeah. But in terms of, like you said, bringing Garnacho off, bringing Anthony on, and what concerns me the most, Faz, is, one, I'm thinking about why is Ahmad getting no minutes? That's a question that's in my head. But the main thing that concerns me the most is, the likes of the players that are coming on and not doing very well for us, Anthony and Amrabat, are two players that Ten Hag massively pushed to sign. Is that worrying for you? Yeah,
I think I understand now. I don't know why he took off Rashford at the time, but I get it now and everything. But it's not the subs actually what's the issue. It's what instructions are you giving these subs is what's making me think that, Eric, what are you doing? In any game, you might have to make subs because you feel like a player who's not injured may not be, that giving you that much intensity. Don't forget, Kobe made a massive block with his head. And he fell on the floor. You don't know what's the situation going on with his brain. That was a full-fledged shot as well at his head. So maybe something's gone on and he said, okay, Kobe, come off, have a rest or whatever. He might be feeling dizzy spells. But I was under the impression that the subs are going to come in to help him defend better. But instead, it went the opposite direction and you started just creating more holes. I thought you would have been bringing on Anthony to play like a wing-back role and try and, stop wingers coming in. I thought Amrabat would have helped Casemiro a bit more and helped the backline a bit more. But instead, we started almost going into our own midfield a bit more and creating the space in between the midfield and the backline for Man City to get the ball. And that's how they ended up scoring the third goal even. They had so much space to win the ball and go in, and Haaland went and scored. So it's the instructions that he's given to these players that's making me question more than anything, because who else is he going to bring on? He's not really, is he going to bring on Eriksen? Is Eriksen going to defend? At least Amrabat's going to run around a bit and maybe get a tackle in. What's Eriksen really going to do? You're not trying to lost in a game. You're not trying to attack, are you? So that's the main thing is does he really have that? Certain managers like Diego Simeone, Mourinho, Conte, these guys will, when they lock it up, they really lock it up. There's nothing going through. And they will tactically set out the team. They'll put 6 defenders, they don't care. But I don't know if Erik ten Hag can do, these sorts of things with the players he has. Also as well, I think another thing that's concerning to me is, and it's becoming a regular thing, Kev, is half-time, team talk, what's going on, because our second half was terrible compared to our first half. First half, we actually went into half-time with a lot of confidence. Second half, we were just poor. And it's that's happened quite a lot this season. Is that a worry for a manager? Is your team talk getting through to the players? Is it the fact that we don't have
a squad that can do it over 90 minutes? I mean, what do you think it is?
I think from a United perspective, it would have just been more of the same. But I think we can be incredibly harsh here on United today. I think we really need to look at who we were playing, and you could argue the fact that what Pep Guardiola said to the City players at half-time to get a reaction from them to come out from 1-0 down and win 3-1. You could totally spin it like that. I suppose if you try to say, is his methods and his instructions getting through to the players? I think it is, but again, I just have to put it down to the team isn't. We don't really play as a team. We've argued about style of play, which we haven't seen, which is my main criticism of the manager. I live in hope every week that it might just kick in at some stage, but it is becoming a concern because I'm not seeing any patterns of play. We've got the sweeper keeper, we've got Onana, we've seen today, you know, even with the first goal for Rashford, what a ball, you know, that he plays through to Bruno. You know, you could say it was route one or whatever, but it was instinctive, and it was what Manchester United had to do. City play a high line, United have just... Onana did exactly what he did in the Champions League final. That was the keeper that I seen and thought, I want this guy, you know, if it makes the chops and changes, gets rid of De Gea or whatever, you know, this is the guy. And Onana was brilliant today, but I think the instruction is getting through. I just think we just have to hold our hands up and say the players are just not good enough. Or some of them, I won't say all of them, but there's still a hell of a lot of deadwood to clear out in this squad, big time.
Yeah. I mean, everyone that cooked me for Onana, apologies, I'm taking him now.
He still has to win us something,
no,
let's be honest.
Yeah, no.
I'm
not getting carried away. Yeah. But Mords and everyone here, and actually we'll get a poll going on this as well, and I'll come to some super chats. Get a poll going on this, admin, please. So 11 points off top 4 with 11 games to go. That's not looking good. So is Ten Hag in trouble?
Yeah, he's been in trouble for a long time. I don't think this is...
Do you think he'll be here at the end of the season?
By the end of the season?
I mean, by the end of the next season. Like, sorry, but at the end of the season...
Come the summer.
Come the summer, when we're planning to go into the new season, do you think Ten Hag will still be here?
It's honestly a 50-50, a genuine to 50-50. I think it though? It is. I think it depends on how the season ends. I mean, we could still win the FA Cup. I think 100% if he wins the FA Cup, yes.
Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup and got sacked that evening.
Yeah, but they're not making that mistake again. Let's be honest.
I don't think he'll be.
Just to put it into context as well, 11 losses in the league, 16 in all comps. It's not
good enough.
It's not
good enough, but he still has a highest win percentage rate than any manager that we've had since post-Fergie. So they can also look at that and say, oh, well, that's better than what these guys have done. So
we don't want to go down that road.
No, we can go down that road. We can go down that road.
Because if I pull out my stats,
well, your stats are so like...
Statman Faz.
So,
you don't want me to...
Your stats are so particular.
1967 and
they're so particular.
1857, don't make me.
Your stats are ridiculous. But honestly, I think it's 50-50. I think 100% if we win the FA Cup, they will. Two seasons, 2 trophies. That's what they want. They want silverware, so they're 100% going to keep him in. I think if the season carries on how it is now, and we get out of the FA Cup and we drop further down the table and we might finish 7th, 8th, it's on the line.
I don't think it is 50-50. I think he'll be gone.
And he's got the worst.
I'm not saying I agree with this, so don't clip me up saying I'm saying he should go. But from me looking from the outside in, I think that Ineos have probably already made this, you know, kind of decision. And the fact that Gary Neville's coming out with like stuff, it's almost like he's heard something. Was it before the game today? He was on about it again, which it's not great. You know, it's going to disrupt the team. But I think that the likes of Ratcliffe and that will be looking at this, and it is a major part of the team. I think that they might have already made that kind of decision.
I think, yeah. Kev, I think as well, you've got to think when new owners come in, I know it's not complete takeover, there's often a change in personnel. Tuchel just come off the back of winning like the Champions League, and I think this was the complete wrong decision by Chelsea, by the way, as well. But there was obviously some fallouts there, ended up going. Ten Hag, for me, I think he's got one last chance. Obviously, I spoke to Romano this week. He's quite in the know, and he said Ineos and Sir Jim are not speaking to anyone. But then the Omar Barada thing completely just came out of nowhere. So they have been quite sneaky with things. But the last roll of the dice I think Ten Hag has is the FA Cup. And that quarter-final at Old Trafford is generally his do or die. And even past that, he's got to at least get to the final and even go on and win it to save it.
Look, okay, fair, right? Let's say he wins the FA Cup and doesn't come top 4. What has he done in his footballing career to warrant staying in Manchester United?
Staying in Man United.
Yeah, after that. Because Van Gaal is world-renowned.
Yeah.
He's a world-renowned manager. Seriously established manager who didn't last in Manchester United because he didn't come top 4. Won FA Cup.
It's a different expectation.
The football was shit under Van Gaal.
100%.
People falling
No, it was.
asleep in
It's
the
crap.
crowd. It was deadly.
The football's bad now.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I know.
Football was bad then, and now I think we're going to end up facing 1,000 shots this season.
Have we not already hit it?
Like we today. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm genuinely asking, what does this manager have on his CV?
It's not about that. I don't think it's about what he's got on his CV because how many managers have gone to that? What did Arteta have on his CV?
I was just going to say Arteta. Just that he's worked under Pep Guardiola. That's all he has.
Okay.
The reason why I think he's going to stay is one, I don't think Ineos or whoever's in charge or whatever, they're going to make the mistake that they made with Van Gaal. Because I feel like even
but
Van
that
Gaal,
wasn't Ineos' mistake.
No, I know, but it's still United though. Like you're still managing the same club. You see what the club has done in the past. You're gonna obviously learn from what other people have done. You're not just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Man United fired managers when they should have, but they did it anyway because the expectation was so high.
Yeah.
There's a huge realization now that Man United isn't the Man United of 2008 or 1999. There's a huge realization now that not just the club, but everyone's thinking, okay, we have to look at this a different way now. We can't just look at it and think, we should be winning the Premier League every single season, and if he's not winning the Prem, or if he's not close to winning the Prem, he has to be fired. No, we're in a serious, like, the bottom of the bottom rebuild. So we have to start working from that point up. And if you want a manager to be able to do that, you can't just look at him and think, oh, well, he's not working right now, so he's never going to work. Arteta wouldn't be at Arsenal if Arsenal did that. He finished 8th twice. You think if
Fifth.
and then 5th. Okay. You know what I mean? And even though he won the FA Cup, but he won after 3 games, barely played any games in that season. So the reason why I'm saying this is I think they're going to look at it, and they're not going to look at it and think, oh, he deserves it because of what he's done in the past. They're going to look at it and think, okay, we need to actually change our methods and what we've done in the past and think, let's actually give him a chance, give him a good chance to the point where if we do fire him, at least we can hold our hand to him and say, look, we gave him a very solid chance to do what he needs to do, get his players in, have the time, clear out, rebuild and do everything. And then if he then fails, then we can say, fair enough.
I agree with that. And I've been completely on board with that for a long time. The only thing that's really concerning me is the in-game management. Like, it's a concern. Like, his in-game management is poor, and I just think that's something that is so important to be a manager. And I know this is why I really am hoping he does get a chance under Dan Ashworth. If, obviously, things don't go terribly from now until the end of the season, who knows. But his recruitment, and this is what worries me, is bad. Like, the fact you've watched Anthony play at Ajax for a long time and still give that green light to the 80 mil is crazy to me. Like, there's Martinez was good, Højlund's good. Like, there's been some good ones in there, but overall his recruitment has been poor. And it's like, and what else is I can't get my head around. Is like, not only that is like now they're like your last. Like, you don't even want to bring them on off the bench. And when they do, these
can I just say, this argument of Arteta, I promise you. Mark my words, come this summer, they will be having conversations about him.
Who?
Arteta. Because he ain't going to win shit.
Who will? Arsenal?
Yeah.
You think Arsenal are going to, after this season?
Yes. Okay, I'll tell you why.
Okay, go on.
5 games in hand, I think it's 2-3 seasons ago, 5 games in hand, 4 games in hand.
Yeah.
We start losing, they have a clear run to Champions League football, bottled it. Yeah. Last season, 91% of the time or something, top of the season, bottled it. This season, again, they're praying that we beat Man City so they can go and push for the league. They're not going to do it. And the example I'm going to give you is Brendan Rodgers and Liverpool. Took them to the Heaven's Gates but couldn't cross the border. And what did they do? They said, see you later. If there's any example I can give you is Brendan Rodgers and Liverpool. So Arteta, again, they will start. I regularly speak to Arsenal fans and say, if push comes to shove, who are you going to throw under the bus? Is it going to be Edu or Arteta? And majority of Arsenal fans tell me it's going to have to be Arteta, isn't it? Because Edu's the one that went and got all these players that we're building on. So if the manager can't take you past this line, and people use Arteta as an excuse like Arteta's achieving something. He got slapped up by Porto. Like he's not going.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to come in here and say
He's not winning
there's
anything.
absolutely zero chance on this earth that even if Arsenal don't win anything this season, that they sack Arteta. They're building something, and I hate to say it, they're building something very good. They play amazing football.
Let's see what they keep going.
They're slapping teams about in the league, and they're in a title race once again. I wish we were where they
But
were.
I don't want to continuously use that as an argument to justify a manager whose CV is based on.
Would you rather be where Arsenal are with Arteta? They didn't win anything last year. They're not winning anything this year. Or be where United are, who won a Carabao Cup. We won a trophy, but we're miles off where Arsenal are.
You can use that as an argument, but in the same argument, I can say you've got a manager that's had zero experience in Europe, come and took the Premier League by storm.
Who are you talking about? Arteta?
Postecoglou.
Oh.
Zero experience in nothing. So what is he building? There are managers out there that Man United sacked who've lost. Hold on. No, it's not about that. I'm saying there are managers out there who've lost their best players in their team, and they're still better than us.
What's that to do with Arteta though?
But what's Arteta got to do with Man United? It's an excuse that people use.
No, because you brought the point to me about Ten Hag not winning anything before. So I brought the point to you that there's managers that haven't won before that can still take a team to the top.
Ten Hag has won.
It's a pointless excuse
not
because
winning anything,
it's a point. I tell you why. Arteta, not one manager you can mention went backwards in their second season. Go on, tell me.
Well, yeah, I get that.
Eighth is eighth.
No, first season was half a season. Don't use that. First season was he barely.
Okay, but you still got
first season's half a season.
He won the FA Cup in the first season.
Okay, what after 3 games?
He won 3 games with them. Yeah, still won the FA Cup.
Oh, really? You're stretching it that much that, oh my God, he won FA Cup after 3 games. Did he progressively in his full seasons go backwards? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you.
Talking about Arteta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Arteta didn't, Klopp didn't. Postecoglou is going to be one example that we're going to start using if he goes backwards next season.
Okay.
But the managers I'm talking that people refer to, they're not going backwards in their second season.
But he didn't improve though.
Arteta
did the exact same thing in the second season he did in the first season, just that he had different
His
players.
first full season was 8th.
Yeah.
His second full season was 5th.
Okay, so you're not counting like the first 8th.
Eric Ten Hag didn't join halfway through the season. Let's keep it like for like.
And that's him getting his players in.
Let's keep it like for like.
Do you also know that Arteta now only has one player in his,
Yes, I do.
in his squad that was there when he first came?
Yes, I do.
Look at Man United squad.
Yes, I do.
You can't. I agree with Mords in the sense of okay. This is what I want to make clear. There's huge red flags with Ten Hag. This football isn't sustainable. Like I can't take it for a long period of time. The in-game management is really poor. We're turning up to City looking like relegation fodder. That is unacceptable, and I get that. And there's not excuses for that. Injuries, I get it, but there's not excuses. But the fact of the matter is, if you get a manager in and just give them a short period of time, and they're always on a knife edge, you're never going to see what they can fully build, like you're saying. You're never going to see that because United, I don't think fans understand this, we're absolutely years off it. The squad isn't as good as what people think. We're years off
okay,
it.
you just said Arteta has one player left from the regime that when he took over, right? One player left, right? So everybody out there, why do you all get rattled when I said sell Bruno, Rashford and Luke Shaw?
Okay, we're taking 5 years.
Well then, let's start selling him then.
Give him 5 years.
Let's start pushing.
Let's wait till 5 years
so
and then we can talk about it.
You want to wait 5 years?
No, but you just gave the example that he's got one player left, so let's repeat.
Yeah, bro,
I'm
he
saying
progressively.
Let's give him the 5. Zach only left last season.
I said it already on a show, anyways. I'm behind Eric Ten Hag 100% if we sell Bruno, Rashford and Shaw, and Maguire and Lindelof.
The only
fully back.
The only issue is I'm completely on board with we need to invest in a manager, give them their full squad, back them and wait and see and give them a full chance before we make a decision. But it's just like players were linked to under Ten Hag. Like it scares me spending more money, but hopefully the new structure that'll work. Like even like he was desperate for Gakpo and I don't rate him that highly either at Liverpool. It's just like I don't know. We're going to go through some super chats and I want to talk a little bit about Varane, a little bit about Dalot, but everyone get your opinions in. Ashmade3 says, name the manager you would get. Faz?
Nagelsmann's out there. Diego Simeone.
KFJ990 says, come on guys, get something else to talk about. Eric Ten Hag isn't and shouldn't get fired after this game or this season. Players and board need to go first. Aidan said, forgot your name, but you talk sense and say it how it is. I don't know who you talked about there, but yeah. Sayo McCulley says, Louis van Gaal has been. What are you saying, lol? Akash Paul says, I'm convinced some players are chucking it in. This is a culture issue at Man United. Eric Ten Hag and Ineos have my backing to make these changes. I don't think you can say that some players, like every player tried really hard today and give everything.
Yeah.
Alan Kenny says, who would be manager realistic? Who would we get? Kamal says Garnacho is a disgrace. Anthony had better strength and pace than Garnacho. Erik ten Hag never must now allow Garnacho to start. He was a total flop with City today. I think that's ridiculously harsh. And Garnacho's probably been our best forward this season, but he's not been great the last few games, but got to have some perspective. Mario Franco says we simply lack quality, man. That's the sole reason. Alan Kenny says Varane and Evans work really well together. Just Evans is 35 and Varane is 30. Says everything at the moment. I agree with that super chat. Awobbly Toby says we were robbed. PD2 says, I imagine playing in a team every week knowing forwards will make bad decisions 90% of the time. Affects all. Stat means nothing. On Erik ten Hag, still moments FC.
Anthony was so bad.
Well, Darrow Graffiti says Anthony has less ball retention than a pair of crotchless trousers.
We needed cheering up on a night like this, didn't we?
That is
So bad, honestly. I don't know how you can be that
Midnight
awful.
Shift first super chat. Oh God, his first super chat because she's supporting City. Manchester is blue, they say. Don't remind me. Ben Play says if Erik ten Hag was to make a team, if Erik ten Hag was to manage a team like Dortmund, he would look like a class manager, not far for Alonso. It's fair to say this man management is questionable, but with the correct backing, he could be special. Lee J says one trick pony. And yeah, everyone, thank you for your super chat so far. We'll come back to them towards the end of the show as well. Aidan says the middle guy. I think he's talking about you, Mords. Tam Relic Scholar says Erik ten Hag decided to turn up against City like a League Two side in an FA Cup tie. Worst teams have given City a better game, so how can we keep defending Erik ten Hag? Jack D says Diego Simeone would be horrendous. Erik ten Hag in.
No, it's awful that you guys watch. Apparently, Man United fans went and watched every single Ajax game before Erik ten Hag signed, but you lot ain't watched Diego Simeone football, have you? Because last time I checked, this guy is keeping over 60% possession in majority of his games.
I think Simone's good.
He's fantastic. He changed his football massively, and the fact that football fans will sit there and be fickle and doubt his attacking football is funny. But like I say, I think Ineos actually, funny enough, are going to go for Tuchel. I have a weird feeling. I don't know why.
Oh, we don't.
I have a weird feeling.
We don't go
Not
for
that I
Graham
want.
Potter anyway.
Not that I want Tuchel, but I have a weird feeling because why would media start pushing out the agenda of he wants to come to Manchester United or he feels like his unfinished business in the Premier League? Then it comes out that he's leaving Bayern Munich, and then every single week we hear manager talk, from outlets and stuff. So, these are billionaires in charge of Manchester United. If they're really behind the project and don't publicly back the manager, all they have to do is pick up the phone and tell one of these news outlets, hey, put out a story or something saying we're behind Ten Hag and Ineos are okay. But funny enough, every single 72 hours, there's a news about a different manager Man United linked with.
They're fully behind him.
So I absolutely don't think they're fully behind him, and I have a weird feeling it's going to be one of the Tuchel or Nagelsmann.
I agree with the sense I don't think they're fully behind him. The news just it's
as long
obvious.
as they keep Graham Potter away anyway. I keep hearing that name and thinking, no.
Scary.
It's like my Pochettino moment. Remember when we were supposedly after him? I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, Graham Potter would be an absolute disaster. Tom Suttle says Fergie finished 11th and 13th, first 4 seasons. What happened after that? Erik ten Hag has had less support than Fergie had, or Arteta has had, or Klopp had. John J says Simone Inzaghi is the only manager ready for a bigger challenge. Did very well at Lazio, got Champions League final with Inter, and will win Serie A this season. Inzaghi is a bit of a shout, but it's one of them. Thomas Hopley says, whoever sent Garnacho super chat, please don't watch football. Well said, I feel like, on that one. But I want to talk. The one thing about Erik ten Hag is and what we remember when we talk about. Thank you. When we talk about, bringing new managers in, people want certain managers because of a style of play and all this. Ten Hag was playing Real Madrid off the park in Champions League. He had a full-on style of play. This club sinks a lot of people, and that's kind of the only sort of argument you have coming back on that. But we can pick up the Erik ten Hag conversation another time. Let's talk about players that play today. Here's one. This will cheer you up, Faz. Diogo Dalot's game by numbers against City. 100% tackle win rate, 100% dribbles completed, 100% aerial duels won, 80% duels win rate, 8 out of 10 duels won, 3 out of 3 tackles won. He had a flawless game, in my opinion.
Fantastic. The best part of that game I saw in the second half, he made a darting run. That was the best thing he did all game, in my opinion, is he's noticed that Man United are just about to win the ball back, and it lands on Bruno, funny enough, and he's just like darting. And all Bruno had to do is do them Hollywood pass. One Hollywood pass over the top to Dalot, and it would have been, you know, probably through on goal, or he would have been able to create a chance. Is the amount of energy he puts in every single game. Look, people say Bruno Fernandes runs so much and whatever, and he puts out so much energy. But I promise you, I would love anybody out there to get me this stat if they can. I don't know how they can, but most kilometers covered per game. Diego Dalot's has covered the most kilometers by any Man United player. This guy is unreal. And today, look, a lot of people were questioning Doku versus him. I'll be honest, Doku looked like he was he was not a footballer today. I don't understand.
He got subbed, didn't he?
He got absolutely, pocketed, fully pocketed. And it's a shame that the game didn't go in any other way, because Man United fans continuously, hounded this guy, and they created the conversation between him and Bissaka. But this shows the levels. If Ten Hag's done some good things, one of them is get more out of one of the fullbacks, which is Dalot. So fantastic game.
Yeah, Dalot's progressed fantastically under Ten Hag. That's one thing you can say.
Sorry, another one. It's just come to my mind. People used to say that Anthony needs a better fullback. Well, how about our fullback need better wingers?
Yeah.
Right?
I
People
agree.
used to say that, Eric Ten Hag can't play the football that he needs to play with Anthony because we don't have competent fullbacks. Let's go buy competent fullbacks. Well, look now how funny it is. His 100 million winger is rotting in the bench.
Yeah.
Dalot as well for me. I don't know if any of you agree. I think player of the season so far.
Well up there.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a tough competition.
Yeah, it's really not. It's really not. It's like, who's the best out of the worst?
Yeah.
But I think Dalot just embodies everything that United players should be, in my opinion. I really do like him. That's one positive out today. Another positive I thought was obviously Varane and Evans played well together. Anana was good and stuff. There was one imposter among us, and that was Lindelof. Oh my lord! I get the fact he's not a left back, but oh my gosh, Lindesoft, just too soft. His passes were to no one. Fair enough, he's dealing with one of the best players in the world, and I generally think that in terms of Foden. I think Foden's that good. And he's not a left back, so I feel sorry for the guy. There was no one else to play there. But in terms of Varane, obviously Evans, as good as he has been for us, he's just stopgap, and he's not a long-term prospect for us. Varane is 30. Talks him leaving for a free on the summer. How do you guys feel about that? Because for me, he's been definitely our best defender this season, most consistent, and today again just showed how good he is.
I'd say as a player you'd be looking to keep. Again, it really comes down to, I suppose, Varane and what he wants to do. But there was all this talk that he can't play 2 games a week. He's doing it at the minute, isn't he? And he's stood out head and shoulders today. I thought even Johnny Evans as well. I did look at them little bits of the team, and we can argue that Manchester United injuries, maybe if we'd have had Shaw, Martinez and Højlund, in that starting 11 today, we might have been able to maybe put up a bit more of a fight, maybe be a bit more adventurous. But at the back, the amount of blocked shots in the first half, the likes of Evans, Varane, it was really like last-ditch challenging, wasn't it? They were throwing bodies on the line. Johnny Evans, like you say, for the age of him, continues to really amaze me, because when I see him, I just thought at that time, I'm thinking, what are we bringing Johnny Evans back for? But you talk about the armband at Manchester United and maybe Bruno not being the leader on the pitch that some people think he is. Johnny Evans, without that armband, just goes about his business on the pitch, and you could just see he organises the back four. The only major issue we had, like you say, is Lindelof. And I can't go in on him because he's playing left back. He's being asked to play a position that is not his position. Yeah. I've always said it's a bit like asking Casemiro to play on the left wing or something. It's just a total different ball game. But fair play, he wants to play. He'll do the role. But we all know it was just a total mismatch on that side. And I said that in the build-up show too. I said, Pep Guardiola's not daft. He's going to look at that and go, they've got Lindelof playing left back.
It's easy money.
We're going down that side, attack that side. Yeah, right. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Varane, I've always said that I don't want him to leave, but if he was, I want it to be like a slow exit. When I say slow, I mean, we have players that are ready to fulfill that position and that are slowly developing into a first-team player. So even if we do bring in a young defender, whoever it is, we're linked to a load of them, bring them in first, keep Varane, and let it be a slow transition. Don't just kick Varane out and then bring them in and expect them to just play like how Varane was playing. It's not going to happen. It's not magic. So keep Varane in. He said he's got 1 more year or something like that. Or he can.
If we trigger it, apparently we're not going to. But
Well, if they were gonna, they would have done it by now. Have they triggered it? Because they clearly haven't. If he's going to go on a free, and if you don't trigger it by January, teams can already approach you. So he's probably already got a contract somewhere sorted out.
You need that blend of players that are obviously experienced, like Varane, that have done it. Casemiro in the midfield. I said that at the time when Mainu, was coming through, and then he finally got to play with him. And you hear Mainu after that game saying it was just quality to play with him. He looks up to him, and you don't see what happens in training every day, but you certainly need these players that, I think people are too quick now to look and go, he's 30, get rid of him. Players can play, especially in that position. He could have another 5-6 years in him, really. If Johnny Evans is still doing it, but he comes off thingy today. When he was the amount that he put into that game, you could just tell he was absolutely shattered.
Yeah. And again, it shows both Evans and Varane. It shows the professionalism. They probably both know they're not going to be here next season, still giving everything, and that's what's really important. And probably 2 of our best players today. So, yeah, I mean, I'll be sad to see Varane go in the summer. I can't lie. I think he's been one of the better performers this season and been our most consistent defender. But I think that will happen. Alan Kenny says Ineos won't take much risk that fast. It's a massive risk picking a new manager in the summer when Bayern, Liverpool, possibly other clubs are looking. Jack says no hate on Ten Hag today, not much he can do. Tactics correct, just at the front four letting him down, inability to keep the ball and create chances. Akash Paul says this next rebuild will be FFP restricted. More evidence of how bad the club has been run over the past decade. Keeping Varane won't be cheap.
Should have told Eric Ten Hag not to pick up the phone and buy Anthony then.
Grace Sheridan says, are we getting Kane or Osman this summer?
Wow.
Oh, God. Thank you for your
Would you take Ollie Watkins this summer?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people we can't
If
afford
Haaland gets
Ivan
20 plus
Toney.
goals, I don't want him.
Sorry?
If Haaland gets 20 plus goals, I don't want him.
I would want him more then.
No, because then that means you're benching either.
No, because look at what Newcastle do with Callum Wilson and Isak. One striker scoring 20 goals is fantastic, but 2 strikers could get you 30 goals.
You've got to have depth.
Yeah.
Depth, but they're both players that should start.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Ollie Watkins ain't coming to United.
that also breeds competition. And if we have 2 strikers, we're more probable to be scoring in all comps, which means they would get more chances to play in more competition. So there will be more games to play.
Fair enough. That's a good argument, but I wouldn't.
It's hard on what striker you go for in the summer because it's such a thin line of letting Højlund flourish but also having good enough.
I think if Højlund had carried on the form that he was in, I would have said 100%.
Yeah, but don't forget,
because he's picked up so
21.
much. He's 21, but because he's picked up so much, Garnacho's 19.
No, I'm saying he's 21. If he has a bad injury or we overplay him, it's gonna be a big impact. We've seen Martial's career, for example. Want to really take it easy.
You need competition, but it's almost that conundrum that Spurs found themselves in. When they were going for a striker as backup for Kane, but it's very hard to find somebody now. Who's going to, at that stage, was going to go to Tottenham to play second. You knew that Harry Kane is the first name on that sheet, so it's I'm going there basically just to maybe play a few cup games or.
It's a weird one.
Unless you bring somebody through from the youth, that's chomping at the bit and wants to play, and you bring them in as understudy to.
Ready,
exactly.
There's no one in the youth ready, but I get your point. That would be ideal. But someone in the chat says Ollie's not coming to United, especially if they're getting Champions League. Come on, it's true. They play way better football than us, and they're probably going to be in Champions League.
That's a very fair point. Yeah.
Ten Hag did say that we have to fight for 5th spot because that could get Champions League as well. It's just so depressing. This is not.
When did he say that?
After the game.
What did he actually say?
Yeah, we have to fight for 5th spot. Said that. Yeah. That's a quote that was on Twitter anyway.
I need to hear that one.
Is he not just being realistic in what he's saying?
Said, remember, 5th could be Champions League this season. We have to fight for it.
And so do other teams behind us.
I don't think we'll get it playing the way we do. But
Europa League.
Just being realistic there.
Last but not least, Faz, thoughts on the comment from earlier on about Foden's work rate? He's such a talented player, super
comment
talented. there was a comment saying that, you know, look at Foden's work rate compared to our forwards. I think the one thing I'd say back on this is Foden and City, like, as a whole, they proke and they prod. They're very rarely counter-attacking, so you have time to conserve your energy. Like, Ten Hag's asking the wingers to trap back but also sprint, like, the whole pitch. Trap back, sprint the whole pitch. It's different, but in terms of, doesn't it show kind of like the system Pep's got going on, that he's got like these world-class players like working extremely hard and winning tackles that, you know, some of our players aren't winning.
So I'll tell you one thing, right? People are so over the moon about Foden's work rate. What I noticed today, even last season actually, when I went to see the derby in the City ground, Man City have 10 players in our half, right? Everyone's in our half. If they lose the ball, they try and win the ball back in our half. They very rarely let the ball go all the way into their half or into their final third. So actually, they're not having to run as hard and as much distance to win the ball back like we have. If any given moment we lose the ball, Dalot or Bruno or Casemiro have to sprint the whole of the pitch back because the opposition team are running at our final third. Whereas Manchester City, the way they set it up, it's like they'll win the ball back and pass it back to Ake or Diaz or whatever, and they'll still be in that middle of the park. They won't go too deep. So in odd situations where they find themselves going like deeper into their half, they have that energy because they've not been sprinting up and down all game like we have. But Foden is just, I think he's going to get PFA award, player of the season award. He has to, because this guy is insane, on another level. In a game where Marcus Rashford obviously scored that goal, and everybody's going to be on their knees saying Marcus, and all of this, but you as well. Foden's just come out and set the tone as well. That don't forget, I can do this as well, and he has done this type of things before. And to get 2 goals. It's astonishing how he can play in any area of the pitch and look sensational. And that's not just the front line, not in a false 9, right side, left side. He can even play the 10. And he plays it so well. He's a world-class talent. You know, people talk about Saka and, you know, Vinny and Bellingham, but let's not forget, Phil Foden is really setting, he's really setting the tone. And it tells you why Pep Guardiola could have taken the risk of letting Cole Palmer go. It shows you what they're dealing with. Really shows you the level of players that they're dealing with, and with no disrespect and trying to be funny, but we're dealing with Anthony, who runs down. I mean, one scenario he's running, clear, just keep running, take it to the corner flag.
I'm going to be
bring
honest,
the team forward. He starts going backwards. I don't understand.
It's not just Anthony. Like, most of the players in our team, like we said, half of them won't even make City's bench.
Impossible.
Like, it's not just Anthony who's off the mark. There's so many that are just nowhere near. Like, Phil Foden's like clear of any player at United.
But probably one of the best players in the league.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's sad, and hopefully, I hope we're sat here next season. You know, we've done the double over City. They've not done the double over us, but it's going to be a long, long process, and there's going to be so much to happen before that. And it's sad, but I know I don't even get as excited for derbies as I used to because I just know what's coming my way. It's sad. But
you have to play him again in that FA Cup.
Don't.
If we get through Liverpool. Darren Mulaney says, Sir Jim said we will knock City and Liverpool off their perch in 3 years. Well, I mean, let's come back to that in 3 years and hope it's happening.
Yeah.
But, guys, just want to say, you know, obviously the result was poor, but thank you for your continued support on the channel, the community, all the super chats, getting involved on the therapy forum. We really do appreciate you guys, and you know, in times like this, when we're feeling really sad about the club and a bit disheartened, you know, talking it out all together with you guys, our community is our outlet. So thank you for that. Please hit a like on the video. We really do appreciate it. But, I mean, last but not least, anyone think we're getting Champions League football still?
Yep.
Do you still think we will?
You said
why am I getting attacked for saying
you are getting attacked, yeah? Because you are. Yeah, turn around. You said Rashford is back. Yeah, I could even see you pointing at your head, and I didn't even see you.
He was back for 20 minutes.
You said, I don't want to hear no Ten Hag talk. This is it, we're back. Yeah, you said, I told you about Rashford.
Yeah, he was, and then he got injured.
You're going to be out with him, innit? That's what it is.
I love the optimism. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I mean, Kev, we used to be the most optimistic ones, but we're both not.
No, it was only a few weeks ago. What was it when we beat Villa and you asked me that same question? I was like, we're getting top 4, but now I'm like, on reflection of what I've seen, you know, obviously defeat to Fulham and that, and then you go along and City, we didn't expect much, but it's going to be, what do you say, 11 games left. It's going to be such a huge ask, that, isn't it, now? And some of the games, I think we've got Arsenal in there,
Brighton,
we've got Liverpool. I was like,
Everton.
yeah, it's going to be very,
Chelsea.
very tough.
I think, yeah. No. Have we got Chelsea? Do we have Chelsea? I'm sure. No?
I'm not sure, actually.
I know we've got home game of the season is Arsenal, isn't it? And last game is Brighton.
Yeah.
So 2 very tough games.
Yeah. Especially with the injuries as well. We don't know when Højlund's coming back, and I think that injury has been really, really
detrimental.
Yeah,
you know what it felt like
chances.
as well? I think that shot that Rashford took, it felt like it was months of frustration bottled up into one, and he just said, just said, F this, I'm just having it.
Put everything into it.
Yeah, he just put everything into it, and it is what it is. But now, is he going to do the same next game is the question.
Well, I mean, scoring one of them the next game, the odds are like... But I hope we can see so much from him. I just want us to play well. I want us to do good, every player, but hope he's slim at the minute. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. We really do appreciate you. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday evening, as much as you can, and we will see you on the next one.